Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Wednesday, February 12th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol AIFF, absolutely monster mover today. And now you got to think a lot of people will be watching this one headed into Thursday. And we have ourselves a nice pattern here. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. So we have the top part of the pattern right there. You have the bottom part of it right there. Change that to green for support. And then just to make the pattern easier to see, let me keep it one color. So we have, again, our resistance. We have our support. We have the big upwards move right there. For you golfers trying to make a little bit more visual, put the golf hold on here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, let me be very clear. Just because something is a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed it is going to go upwards. But is it valid? Is it logical to think that if the price were to come up here and get a break up through that top part of the pattern, that break right there could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a more than valid thought process to have. Again, not guaranteed, but that's within the realm of reason. So if you like bull pennants, if you like this price range right around the $10 mark, and you like stocks that are very volatile and can move very quickly, then I would definitely say to keep an eye on AIFF. Next one here, BHAT, very, very big mover today, a whole lot of volume. Now, it has pulled back, but within the grand scheme of things, you got to keep in mind context. So I do want to make a note that if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well, then yes, from that standpoint, from that context, then I'm going to sound crazy calling anything bullish because, yes, the chart from that point of view is very, very rough given the amount that it pulled back. But taking a step back and looking at things from the bigger picture, let's just look at where the price has been. So you had some lows right there, then you had some lows right here, and then you look at today's lows. And what do you notice if you envision each of those as stair steps? Well, the stair steps are still progressing in the upwards direction. So from a big picture point of view, this chart is still bullish. Again, to reiterate, I fully understand if you're a day trader or scalper and bought right there, you think I'm crazy calling this bullish, but I'm making the comment from an overarching standpoint. So as long as the price keeps on building those higher lows, that's what matters most. Maybe an easier way to kind of track all that is just to use that purple line right there, the 50 period moving average, keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So in order for the price to stay above a line that's increasing, well, by definition, the price is going to have to keep on increasing by building higher lows. So keep an eye on that very closely. In terms of areas of resistance, key area to watch in the near term, at least in my opinion, right there, you have a little bit of a resistance trend line right there. So if the price can come up here and break up through there, again, no guarantees, but valid in my opinion, especially if it's a high volume break, that could generate some more upside buying pressure. Next one, RGTI, and this one is starting to really, bears taking over in a bigger way here. And, from a technical point of view, this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but been talking about this area here as a level of support, but you can see it was violated earlier on in the day, and then that's really what opened up the floodgates. And even as I speak right now, you can see the price is putting in new lows. So the bleeding absolutely continues. Going to go ahead and get rid of all these lines as they serve their purpose for now. And just to kind of squeeze things out here a little bit so you can see where the price could very well be headed. There's really nothing support-wise now. There we go. And I know the chart's a little bit hard to see, but that just shows that it's been a long time since the price been down this low. But next key area of support to keep an eye on, right down here around $10.40. So 10.40 can be the next area where you could potentially see a bounce. But now, there's no guarantees, so I'm not saying the price is going to just drop straight down to there. But just going back through the history of the chart, there just isn't anything there that suggests maybe it could be a bounce point. But at 10.40, there's at least a suggestion. Again, not a guarantee. So 10.40 seems like a very realistic area where this thing could bleed down to. And then if it does get down there, does it bounce? Does it keep on going? That's where risk management matters, because shorts would be wrong to think it's going to keep going down. But longs would be wrong if they think it's going to bounce and then the price does keep going down. In terms of areas of resistance, I think the level at, I don't know, which one so many trend lines could be drawn here. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's just use a moving average. I think that's going to be the simplest way. Just watch that purple line. As the line, like I mentioned earlier, moving. So as it moves downwards, as long as the price remains down below that, even if you want to just envision that as a trend line that's drawn itself for you, then the bears are still in full control. But yeah, in my mind, at least, the most interesting dynamic is, will the price be headed down to 1040? And if so, will it hold? Next one here is CYN. And again, one of these where it's all about perspective. I'm going to get rid of that level as it served its purpose. For day traders, flippers, scalpers that were buying up here, or maybe buying the dip right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within, 7 minutes, then yeah, chart's not looking good for you at all. Now, even from the bigger picture standpoint, it's still looking pretty shaky, but I'm not willing to say that the bulls have lost control for two reasons. Number one, the price is still up above that area of support that I talked about in yesterday's video. And reason number two, the price is still up above that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. Now, if on Wednesday or anytime in the future, the price comes down through here and both of those, at that point, that's essentially putting the price right back to where it was in this range of the chart. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that go back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but that is why I would call and say that the bulls still have a chance here. They're still slightly in control, but yeah, it is starting to look very, very shaky. So as far as breaking levels of resistance, in my opinion, that's not really a priority right now. Top priority for the chart is making sure that it can at least stabilize out and stay above these areas of support. So we'll see if the bulls can get that job done or not. Next one here, NVDA. Overall, finally actually pulled back a little bit, even though it was just a slight pullback. But big picture, everything is doing fine. That green line that I put into place yesterday, as I described, was the ideal level. I mean, if you say, Clay, what would make this chart look absolutely the best moving forward? And that would have been had the price stayed above that area. But you can see right here, it kind of violated it. So not a big deal, though, because really, as long as the price continues to stay above its moving averages, purple line there, 50-period moving average, pink line there, 200-period moving average, then even with more of a pullback, it's essentially just creating an overall kind of bull pennant pattern. So if we have this move here, and then we have something that, and I'm just kind of crudely drawing this, so maybe you could call that a bull flag. But what I'm trying to convey here for the most part is just, even with a bit of a pullback, as long as the price builds those higher lows, as I've talked about in previous charts, then from the big picture standpoint, everything is still perfectly fine. So sure, I understand it's great when, things do what this one had been doing, where every single day is a new high. Didn't happen today, but there's still plenty of opportunity to build a higher base, and that's by far what matters most. Real quick, I want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use, or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can use. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, SMCI, and like NVIDIA, overall the chart is doing just fine. Yeah, it's pulled back a little bit here, but it still has plenty of opportunity to build higher lows. It's still very nicely up above the purple line there, 50-period moving average, and that's what matters from the big picture standpoint. In terms of areas of resistance, yes, you still have the 44.25 and the 46.70, which I talked about in previous videos, but now in nearer term levels, what has been drawn, and I think a lot of people have probably drawn this trend line, and I make that comment because when a lot of people are watching the same trend lines and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So no guarantees, as I've said, and I'll probably say 24 more times, but if the price were to come up here and break up through that level, I could see that break in and of itself creating additional buying pressure and just creating that much more, upwards momentum. Not necessarily to carry it up to these new areas of resistance, but to carry it up to do battle with the top right there, the previous high. I don't think that's the most far-fetched, scenario to throw out there. So like I said, if you like to play breakouts and patterns, keep an eye on that. And I say pattern just because, and I'm going to draw this a little bit more crudely. So we have this resistance trend line here. We also have this kind of downwards channel right there. You had this big move up right here. So we have a bull flag pattern. So bull flag within an overall uptrend, everything is still perfectly fine, but there is going to be that sliver of people, the scalpers, the day traders that bought right there, wanted to buy and sell within 7 seconds. Yes, for them, chart's looking pretty bad. But for everybody else, the uptrend is still fully intact. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And yeah, this trend line here, I thought it would play a little bit more of a role. But yeah, I mean, Tesla is just in such a strong downtrend right now. It just blasted down through that line and is now sitting at lows that have not been seen for a very, very long time. In fact, what I'm going to do here is change to the 4-hour time frame. So what that means is each one of these candlesticks now represents 4 hours as opposed to 30 minutes. And on here, you can see a rough technical event. Even on the 4-hour time frame, Tesla has not only gone down to that pink line there, 200 period moving average, but it's also now broken through there. So that's just a sign in of itself of how things continue to get rougher and rougher here for Tesla. So in terms of next potential areas of support, next overarching level right there around the 308 mark. So again, that's not to say that Tesla's dropping straight down to 308, but at this point, would anybody be shocked if it slowly kind of drifted down to that area before potentially getting a bounce? Again, not guaranteed to happen, but nothing where if it did occur, I don't think a single person would be like, whoa, I didn't see that occur. I didn't see that coming at all. That's a total shock. I can't imagine anybody saying that, especially again with the context of it now having broken down below and then separated the downside of that 200 period moving average. But yeah, bears are in full control of Tesla for now for sure. Next one here, SOPA, and what a monster move on this one today. Good stuff. Got a bit of a pullback here, which is always kind of nice because you don't want to be the person that buys the top. So the people that bought the top, hold that title right now. Those are the people that bought up there. Now, let me be very clear. Just because you do buy a pullback doesn't mean you still can't lose money. Just because, okay, I'm going to automatically make money because I didn't buy the top. If only it were that easy. I'm just trying to convey that at least that worry has been kind of set aside, that you don't have to, wonder, am I going to be the person that buys the top? Because like I said, the price has pulled back here. But let's map out a couple of key levels here moving forward from a support standpoint. So if you like to play pullbacks, interesting dynamic, an area right down here around $4.70. So you can keep an eye on that. And that would just be a classic back test of the former breakout point right there. Basic rule in charting, when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, they tend to act as support. So keep an eye on that. And then in terms of areas of resistance, the key level for me is $6.20. And in my mind, if the price can curl back upwards, and the key dynamic here is a high volume break, a good high volume break at that level. So not some sort of small little volume break like that right there, but a good quality high volume break. I think there's very good odds that the price at least goes up there and retests the highs, if not potentially even breaks through them. But again, I think that's why 620 is more so the accurate area of resistance, because a good high volume break of that, I think, is a level that could really, create that much more buying pressure to the upside to at least bring it to do battle with those previous highs. But anyway, look at it. If you like this price range, you like volatility, you like volume, keep an eye on it for Wednesday. Next one here, LTRY, and this is kind of a bummer for some people, because going into the afternoon, there was actually this very nice, I'm overcomplicating this. Let me just cruelly draw it. There was this nice bull pennant that had formed, and then late day price broke above it, and you can see right now the effects of that. But all of that is to say that this is some good action, but it now leads to always a very exciting and interesting question to ask. Is this the start of something bigger? Now think about that question. It makes zero sense to ask that question if nothing worthwhile is happening or has happened. But that's not the case here. Something worthwhile has happened. A good quality breakout has occurred. Again, I understand. If you're someone that's saying, no, I like to play the breakout, well then yeah, for you've missed the breakout. Now that's not to say that a new breakout point can't form, but for those of you, yeah, this is not for you. But if you're someone that's like, okay, no, I like these situations where something worthwhile has happened, and now I can observe. Is there going to be more momentum? Does it really maybe give a micro pullback? And there's other ways you can approach it. But if you are one of those people that likes to wait for quality events to happen so that you can ask the question, is this the start of something bigger? Then definitely keep an eye on this one. Next one, OMGA. And I like this because it's a very nicely defined pattern. And going just back to that talking point of self-fulfilling prophecies, you got to think that quite a few people have drawn. Now, I'm not going to say that exact trend line right there, but some sort of trend line, because yeah, there has been a little bit of a pullback here. But on the flip side of that, as it's pulled back, it's created a nice little bottom part of the pattern here. And then to just make it easier to see, resistance, support, big upwards move, a golf hole down here, a nice bull pennant pattern. So I've already talked about these before, and I want to respect your time, so I'm not going to harp on it. But if you are somebody that likes penny stocks, you like bull pennant patterns, here you go. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, then definitely get signed up for the free class. It'll be later this week, Thursday, February 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it is a truly genuine live event, so there will be a Q&A session at the end. So please bring your questions, and I'd be happy to answer them live for you. And again, if you appreciate these top 10 videos, if you like them, then please hit that like button. And if you're looking for a super free and easy way to support the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really, really does help out. So I thank you in advance for doing that. So again, go get signed up for that free class, and hopefully I'll see you here in just a couple of days.